Good morning and welcome to Fayetteville. Today I've got Ben Stout with us. Ben Stout is the owner of Ben Stout Construction, which is one of the area's leading new residential property construction companies. So very excited to have you. Thanks for coming and joining me.
Appreciate the opportunity.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah. So ironically enough, when I first came to Fayetteville, I'm originally kind of from Georgia. Moved up to Fayetteville in 2023, January 23, graduated University of Georgia.
Okay.
Go Dogs.
There you go.
And came up here, and ironically enough, talk about like kind of a full circle moment. When I first came up here, got into real estate via ERA, the same company we're sitting here talking to you about.
Awesome.
And so did that, was a real estate agent for quite some time, and then kind of got into renovating houses and reselling them. And then kind of the long story short, got into building single-family new construction. And with a tremendous amount of hard work and an even better team, we've been able to grow our business. And as you said, we're one of the larger builders here in this community. So Fayetteville's been a huge blessing in my life. It's changed my paradigm. And much like yourself, I'm a big Fayetteville guy. So supportive of everything we can do to make it a better community. It's where I raised my kids and met my wife. As you know, my office is literally next building over. So we made a big investment downtown, much like yourself. Again, like we talked about, put our money where our mouth is. Yeah. And so that's 20 years summed up in just a minute or two.
Yeah. It's nice to be downtown, except for, all the trains that pass by every once in a while.
That's right. That's okay. You get used to it.
It keeps it interesting.
That's right.
So, I guess what pushed you towards like real estate and what pushed you more towards building?
Yeah, good question. So, again, when I got started, I came up to Fayetteville. I didn't have anybody. My last name is, as you mentioned, Stout, and there's a family here that's done a great job, had a tremendous amount of success. And so when I first got here, I was always asked, well, who's your dad or who you're related to in the family? I'm like, I'm kind of a one-of-one.
Yeah.
And so it really forced me. I moved up here. Originally, my cousin had given me an opportunity to come up here. And so really I had no choice. It was either figure it out, sink or swim.
Yeah.
And it forced me to get after it. And so in college at Georgia, I had a focus in business with a minor in real estate. So I always kind of liked real estate and I enjoyed it. And so when I came up here, I went and got my broker's license and went to work and had some great mentorships, really had some phenomenal folks, some folks that are still in the business now who did a great job. I treated it like a job. I was there. I worked hard at it. And in doing so, I saw the success of it.
Yeah, so just kind of the entrepreneurial aspect of real estate and being your own boss and being self-driven and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of what attracted you to that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I had a great, some of the folks who are watching or who may work for you now still, he's no longer with us, but Jerry Berry served as a tremendous mentor. He had, I think his company was Gore Realtors, and they had been bought out at the time. And so he brought a bunch of his folks over. So it's kind of a transitional time in that ERA franchise's history. And Jerry always set the example of show up on time, be professional. He had that military background. And so I ended up, as a side of my personal life, my father passed away, which kind of precipitated me coming up to Fayetteville. So Jerry kind of served as that mentor, kind of rode me. Probably in hindsight saw something in me because I was not afraid to work hard, and I was very motivated at the time by money. Money was my why, not so much now.
Right.
But and real estate's it's a great gig. It allows you, if you treat it like a business and you build your business right in the first couple of years, and if you do it right, it is 100% one of the best businesses you can be in, because as an independent contractor, you can control really what you make. And it's one of the few jobs you say, hey, one year I may make 50, the next year I make 150, or whatever your expectations, whatever your goals are. So that what attracted me is that I feel like I got rewarded for the work that I put into it.
Yeah.
And so that drove me to to get up out of the bed and get after it.
Yeah.
So,
And that's exactly what I tell people. You know, real estate's one of them jobs, is a business that you get out of it what you put into it.
no doubt.
So if you want to make the most of it, you got to put the most into it.
That's
you know,
right.
And then it teaches you a lot of patience too, because today's work will pay off in 3 months.
That's right.
So you got to be working a day for next quarter's paycheck.
That's right. It's the
You
farmer mindset. You got to plant
Yeah,
the seeds.
exactly.
And not every one of them may come up.
Exactly.
As long as more of them come up down the line than go away, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you said you kind of, so you got your real estate license, and then you started doing kind of remodel flip homes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. So I again, my cousin had some level of a more of a military construction background, but it was around construction.
Yeah.
And so I really started doing it on paper, where I just would look at something like, man, it seems like this foreclosure I could get for X. I mean, surely
Right.
it couldn't cost more than Y to fix it up, and then I could. And so I literally just kind of got. I went to my cousin and said, hey, I think I have an opportunity here. Would you be willing to kind of help me? Because I didn't have the financial means. He's like, all right, let's give it a whirl.
Mm-hmm.
So the first few, again, that's, everybody's different perspective about partnership and business operations and what that setup looks like. I've always had the mindset of rising tides lift all ships. And so, I wasn't greedy, although I did the work. If I didn't have my cousin helping me, do you want 100% of zero, or do you want 50% of something? And so to me, one of the things that I've learned over the time, and even now in the business arrangements I'm in now, is if you have a great partner, it can take you places you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good to have control, and yes, it's good to be to say that you're the boss. But there's also nothing wrong with being the boss of one thing and being a partner on another thing, if that's what it takes. And so, in doing that, he helped me get started. And then as I kind of built my war chest and save money, which is another key in real estate, as you know. Like you said, you might go a quarter where nothing's coming in, so don't go out and buy all the name brand stuff and go get that new car and then all of a sudden you go dry. But in doing so, we got started flipping houses and had a lot of success. And then I kind of got the bug about wanting to go do some new construction stuff. Yeah. And so I went and got my general contractor's license, and then I kind of got so busy as a one-man band that it became hard to do it all. Yeah. So for me, then I started taking on some partnerships on real estate listings. Some of it was liability purposes, and then some of what is it's hard to be a one-man band. Mm-hmm. And so again, everybody's got to have their own journey about what works for them. But yeah, that was the fun thing about real estate, is seeing an undervalued asset that you could go pick up, create value, which is again is cool, and then go resell it and make some money. So all three of those things were cool, and it's fun now. I haven't done it in years, but it's still fun to drive around to Ponderosa or Middle Creek or some of the trade winds up in Sprint. It's fun to go and see some of these communities where I can drive through and be like, man, we fixed up. And there's 6 or 7 different houses that Meadowbrook, down there. So it's really fun to see how you can impact the community in a positive way, creating value, and then giving home ownership to folks when they move in there. They got a great looking house. So it was a fun experience, and then it kind of set me up for the journey of getting into new construction and going down that lane. So, yeah.
So did you grow up swinging hammers and? Man,
ironically enough. My dad's family, so my first cousin who I moved to be up here with, my dad had a family of 5 boys and 2 girls. They are all out of Western Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh. So I have some allegiance to the Steelers. It's my go-to team.
I won't hold that against you.
That's okay. And actually, they were in the railroad business. So my family, when you talk about railroads, it's always like that stuff doesn't bother me, because so much of my dad's side of the family, they did install railroad lines for subways, above ground trains, the type of tracks that you see outside that most people see driving down the road. Yeah. And so that was their background. So I was around construction, but not in the sense of hammers and nails and new construction or anything like that, or land development. All those things have been learned through the School of Hard Knocks. Yeah. And I got a PhD in figuring it out as you go. Yep. I got a PhD in fake it till you make it.
There you go.
And I'm proud of all those degrees. It means probably more financial benefit than my awesome degree from the University of Georgia. But In all seriousness, I mean, if you want to go pursue these things, there's so much that's taught in books. I mean, I'm sure you see it firsthand all the time. I'll never forget the first contract I wrote at ERA's when y'all were at the Breezewood office.
Yeah.
Okay. I was sitting at an open house for a builder, and I called Mr. Berry up. I said, hey, I think these cats are really serious about writing this contract. I said, but at real estate school, one thing they didn't teach me is how you actually fill out the contract.
Right.
So he's like, all right. He's like, calm down. He's like, here's what you're going to do. You're going to tell them that your teammates at the office. I'll have all the paperwork kind of ready to go for them, and I'll kind of walk you through the first deal. And so Mr. Berry literally wrote the contract, because then I'm sitting there figuring out how to do it. So again, you can have all the experience that a book can give you, but there's nothing replaces. And again, when you get these folks in that are saying, well, I want to be in real estate, there's so much more to it than what that book can teach you, or what J.Y. Monk or whatever the new, I don't know who's in it now, but whatever those schools are great, but they're just teaching you to pass a test.
Right.
It's all the other things and the investment that you make and that we talked about earlier. The more you put into it, the more success you're going to have. And in real estate, boy, those schools are great, and continuing ed is great. I take continuing ed, but that doesn't teach us how to run a business, how to operate a business. And when you're your own business owner, if you want to see the results, you got to wake up every day and look in the mirror.
Yep. I mean, it doesn't even show you how to open a lockbox. You know, how many agents have called me because they show up to a house and they've got one of the Bluetooth super lock boxes there. They're like, Ricky, how do I do this?
That's right. Yeah. So but that's the cool thing too. If you're in the right real estate setting, you do have teammates. Yeah. So you have your own business. But if you're in the right setting, you should have a supportive team that gives you the support that you need to not embarrass you or make you look good. I mean, you got to learn how to play that script here's how I do. So to me, that's what a great, in situations, whether it's your broker in charge or owner, whoever runs that entity that you're operating, they should also create, in my mind, and we try to do it at my office, is a great work environment that you can trust your teammates, because ultimately they're about the bigger picture of what's for the greater good. So as individual agents, yes, it matters, but having that teamwork inside that office space to be able to help their buyer or help that person who's has a seller, to me that's a collaborative effort that having an office such as this makes a difference. In my personal opinion, having great teammates matter. In sports, we see that as well as in business, for sure.
So I know. Was Miss Sandra was also one of your big time people that you leaned on.
Miss Mary Jo. There was quite a few of them that are still out there making it happen, and it's kind of a really fun time. But we've had Miss Sandra she sold a number of our houses, and every time I see her, I always take the time to pick up the phone and call her or try to send her an email, just let her know how much we appreciate it. And it is personal. I'm sure you see it in your business too. For us, I mean, yes, we are we sell quite a few homes. Obviously, it's all perspective. There are folks that do a lot more than us as well.
Right.
But in our case, my name's on it, and it does mean something to us. I always try to tell folks, we'll never claim to be perfect, but we will at least try to give effort and do everything we can to resolve situations to have a positive outcome. It doesn't always work out that way. There's going to be situations where ultimately it's just we're not going to see eye to eye, and that, that's okay too. But ultimately it does mean something. So when we see agents that are selling our stuff, we try to take the time to make that personal connection. When you've been in Fayetteville for 20 plus years and you consider it home, don't plan on going anywhere. We want folks to know that it means something to us when they sell our house. They're not just another number. They're not just to achieve our goals. That it means something to us, and we do appreciate it. It helps us keep things moving forward. So
well, I mean, and that's how it works too. Collaboration, networking. Is huge in this industry that we're in.
That's right.
As well as I'm sure for you, you thrive off of getting feedback.
That's right.
So anytime anybody can give you a review or just any kind of, hey, this was the experience we had. This is what we loved. This is what maybe we have an opportunity on. Can help you grow your business.
Yeah, we look at it as there's. Anytime that we have challenges within our business, we look at it as an opportunity to have self-reflection, say, what could we learn from this and what's the takeaway? If we're not communicating in a manner that creates frustration for a client, where did we fail in meeting that expectation, right? It's so easy in today's environment, and depending on your personality type, I'm not a big social media guy, But there's also been some super positive things, right? I mean, I think that we've seen recently, to kind of pivot here real quick, we've seen the positive aspects of social media, what's taking place here in the Western Carolina, of people rallying to a cause. And to me, like, that's something that's so powerful, and it's been so cool. We had excellent participation in getting folks stuff. I know that y'all had some stuff. Dreamfinders here locally, another, they're the biggest big home. Hey, we love each other. What's best for Fayetteville? What can we do to work and collaborate on stuff? To me, that's the good side of social media, and the powerful part that you can rally around something that we all know needs help. That's the positive. The negative, as you said, it's so hard these days to tell a story. Right? I'm not big on social media personally. Obviously, we have branding and marketing, and it's challenging to please people. It's really hard. One of the stories I love to tell, and this is maybe a little aside, is we had a lady who left a challenging review on our Google, and people love stars, right? So I'm like, daggum, I made the mistake. I took the bait. I'm like, let me go down this rabbit hole. As it's turned out, the lady actually had a home inspection on the home, which is awesome. We love new home. If you buy one of our houses and you want a home, we love it. It provides clarity, right? People want clarity. People want to know what the deal is. It provides clarity for all of us involved on what it is. We have no problem with that. Ironically, she had ordered one. Looked at it. I'm like, surely we fix these. And it literally was like 3 to 4 items. I'm like, how could we be upset and leave us a bad review when we got a home inspection and we fixed it and it still wasn't good enough? So then I clicked on it, and I was like, look, again, I'm guilty. I went down the rabbit hole, and I clicked on it. I cannot make this up. It's a true story. I clicked on the lady's name, and I guess you can go look and see what they've ranked stuff. Like you can go see their history. I cannot make it up. First one was Chick-fil-A. I'm like, oh my God, Chick-fil-A, like
the Lord's Chicken.
The Lord's Chicken. Surely this is like a 5-star. It was a 1-star, and the comment was, I went and got my sweet tea, and I know that they've changed the recipe. The lady refused to admit it, and it really upset me. 1 star. And I was like, look, if I get a 1-star and Chick-fil-A gets a 1-star, I'm okay. Like my company's moving in the right direction if we're on the same level as a Chick-fil-A. So again, it just, it is hard.
I mean, if you give Chick-fil-A a 1-star, you've lost all credibility.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And so that's a story. Every once in a while I get a chance to do things like this or share our story or share our why and get a chance to meet folks. And that's one of the ones always, when you're in an environment and you're trying to help other folks, and whether it's this operation or another one, everybody's focused on stars. Everybody understands the good and bad of social media. But I always like to tell that story at some point, because it does give a reflection of, you just got to understand that sometimes you're not going to make everybody happy. It's got to be a challenge, and you just got to work through that. So so we're okay. Like, we're compared to Chick-fil-A, I can live with that.
Then you're doing all right.
Put my head down
then
you're
doing all right. There you go.
That's right.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you've got out now, what you're working on, what's coming up.
Oh man,
where we're building and stuff like that.
It's nonstop. Again, like you said, I know that the focus of this is on Fayetteville, and we try to do a great job, man. We're so appreciative of obviously the bread and butter of what we do is try to service our troops and our members of the, who are supporting our troops here at Fort Liberty. We understand, the service that they provide for us is something that we never take for granted, right? I mean, and we appreciate what they do. And so what we try to do is, in our business models, we really try to surround Fort Bragg. If that was like a drop pin where we're at, we try to be around Fort Bragg, and most of our product and what we're looking at is within a 15 to maybe 45-minute drive into Fort Bragg. Obviously, with the advent and the finishing up here shortly of 295, it's created some unique opportunities where now everything that used to be 35 minutes seems to be 15 minutes.
Right.
I love it. We had some peer builders in town here recently, and they're like, how long does it take to get here? I'm like, 15 minutes. Well, how long does it take to get there? I was like, 15 minutes. Well, what about here? I was like, what do you think it's going to be? 15 minutes? I mean, like, really, it feels like you can be anywhere now in Fayetteville in 15 minutes, which has opened up some areas that maybe were underserved or kind of far out. It's now like within our MSA of where we want to build at. So most of our product type is built, again, within that time frame of travel to Fort Bragg. We know that that's our hub. We try to build product that our bread and butters are kind of our first time homeowner,
right?
Or what I call like our first time new home. Somebody who's in that flip house maybe that we were talking about earlier, maybe that 3.2, 1,300 square feet, and now they got a couple of kids, and they're looking for the move up. And for new construction, we try to be that option. And so most of our product, I'd say let's just pick a number that we're at about 200 homes a year that we close. Our average price point is about $325. Which, means that we have homes from $285 to $300, $325, and maybe $325 to $400. Some of that's depend on location and lot and features and amenities, and the product type we're building. But we really try to do value-based building. We try to provide a 2,000 square foot home on average for $325 with a 2-car garage and 3 to 4 bedrooms.
Right.
That for us is a fastball down the middle. And we understand that in the last couple of years we've had some affordability challenges, so we've tried to adjust to that, try to bring our price point down as mortgage rates escalated, and as they've come back down and softened a little bit, and I think hopefully as a market we'll see a little bit more of that next year.
Right.
We're going to continue to try to be kind of at that same price point, and we just think that it'll unlock more people's ability to get into a house and have home ownership, which we still think is one of the greatest things about our country, is the ability to own your own home and control that and have it as an asset. And what we've seen lately is, even in Fayetteville for so many years, there was a challenge for our VA buyers after 2 years to get out of a house, right? With the funding fees and the thises and the that's, and, the commissions and some of these things that now are more negotiable and open. It was hard for them. But what we've seen over the last couple of years is that now even folks after 2 years, if they're having to move, they're able to get a check and use that for their next house or to assist in more of a down payment on their next home. So we're excited about the marketplace. We're excited about being here. Fayetteville, like I said, is our home base. We are deeply rooted here. All of the people that work for us are in this area and live and work here. When you buy one of our houses, the money stays here. It doesn't go to another corporate headquarters out of state. The money that's spent here is invested here. We try to be a good corporate citizen and support other nonprofits. And when we've been blessed, we try to bless others. And so it's kind of I try to promote local. We use local trades, local vendors, local real estate partnerships. And so we're doing all we can on our part to grow Fayetteville and build Fayetteville and point out the things. Yes, there are things that Fayetteville doesn't have, but there's also a lot of new things. The baseball stadium here to our left. There's a lot of great things here if you take the time to.
We'll have the event center downtown here in the next couple of years.
Shortly. I think the barcade is another thing that I know we're excited about. Our office, 5 o'clock, go play some games and maybe have a drink or two. So again, there's a lot of cool stuff. We're pro Fayetteville. I live in Fayetteville. I raised my family in Fayetteville. My kids go to school here. So we're going to do all we can to the best of our ability to be a great partner for all the projects we have in Fayetteville and where we're putting our homeowners.
Awesome. Well, how long until you get bored of residential and start building skyscrapers down here?
Oh man, so I've actually tried to bend. I'll tell you again as a aside, where we got really good, and I would encourage everybody has to have their own journey, have to tell their own story, right? My story isn't the same story for anybody else. But one of the things that really got us good is when I finally had the confidence to say no. Those 2 letters can be very powerful.
That's a full sentence.
They can be very powerful. And so we have gotten rid of a lot of ancillary things that kind of got us distracted. We want to be really good at what we do. We want to get better at what we do. I think when we were talking earlier off camera, we were talking about what's one of our drives, and one of them is continuous improvement. Right. Our company, we want to continue to get better. As I said earlier, we know we're not perfect, but we want to get better at the things that we maybe can get better at, or the holes and gaps that we have. What can we do to get better? So while I would be a huge supporter of doing some crazy cool project downtown, we're going to stick to what we are good at, stay focused on, be supportive of whoever does that project, and maybe go rent some space or whatnot.
There you go.
Or buy some space. But we're going to try to get just really good and continue to get better and growing our footprint here across the Carolinas. And and that's because we try to get better every day, just a little bit. So
awesome,
yeah.
man. Well, man, I appreciate you
Yeah.
so much for coming on and just
Absolutely.
chatting with me.
Absolutely, I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate the platform.
Yeah, definitely. If y'all have a chance, go check out Ben. What's your website?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's www.benstoutconstruction.com. Got a lot of great information. When you ask where the communities were, we have a great communities map. One of the things we've kind of got better at, continuous improvement, we're trying to get better on our website, and we've done a great job of that. So for both agents and buyers, there's a ton of information on that, but I appreciate that. It's www.benstoutconstruction.com, and you'll find us there.
Awesome. So yeah, y'all can go check out some of the communities, some of the floor plans and options that y'all have available. Get in touch with a sales rep to go out and tour some of those properties, or make sure you're following them on social media as well, so that way when y'all do open houses and stuff like that, that y'all can go out and get a first-hand visual and get in the homes and check them out and see how great a quality homes they really are. So Ben, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the platform. Best of luck to y'all moving forward as well.
Yes, sir. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in today. I'm Ricky Evans. This has been Ben Stout, and hope to catch y'all on the next episode.